Modern aviation is safe, sterile, and completely boring. But step back a few decades, imagine a flying machine so violently loud that its roar literally shattered the glass windows of the buildings beneath it. That is insane. Or a colossal Soviet mechanical spider that didn't bother putting cargo in its belly. Instead, it simply straddled a 5-story apartment block and walked away with it. During the Cold War, engineers threw every law of physics out the window. They built the absolute unthinkable. Today, we are tearing into 10 of the most unhinged, dangerous, and rule-breaking rotorcraft ever unleashed on the skies. You really need to stay with me until the very end, because the massive behemoth waiting at number 1 is a mechanical nightmare. It will make you question how it ever got off the ground. Number 10 is the Aerospatiale SA 315B Llama, originating from France in 1969. This aircraft was engineered for one singular terrifying purpose: conquering the absolute limits of the Earth's atmosphere. It is powered by a single turbo-mecha turboshaft engine, generating 870 shaft horsepower. However, it was intentionally derated to 550 horsepower to ensure maximum performance in dead thin air. The Llama has a maximum takeoff weight of 4,300 pounds. This makes it a surprisingly capable machine, despite its incredibly fragile and skeletal appearance. Now, looking at the Llama is exactly like looking at a mechanical X-ray. It features a completely naked exposed tubular frame without any sleek fuselage or protective paneling. There is just a clear glass bubble up front and a skeleton of steel tubes stretching all the way to the tail rotor. This stripped-down, bare-bones design was a highly calculated choice. Every single ounce of unnecessary weight was ruthlessly eliminated. This way, the machine could perform extreme high-altitude mountain rescues in the unforgiving peaks of the Himalayas, a place where standard conventional helicopters would simply choke and fall. The stakes for the Llama were always life and death. In 1972, pilot Jean Boulet took a stripped-down Llama to a staggering absolute altitude of 40,814 feet. But at the exact peak of that record, the engine completely flamed out from oxygen starvation. This terrifying failure forced the longest unpowered auto-rotation landing in aviation history. It was a terrifying triumph of engineering. But if you think stripping a helicopter to its bare bones is a wild idea, the next machine decided to put roaring jet engines directly on its spinning blades. Number 9 is the Hiller HJ1 Hornet. Born in the United States in the early 1950s, the Hornet perfectly represents the madness of Cold War-era engineering. Instead of placing a massive heavy transmission and piston engine in the belly of the aircraft, engineers had a different idea. They strapped 2 tiny ramjet engines directly to the very tips of the main rotor blades. Each engine weighed only 13 pounds but produced roughly 40 pounds of thrust. The aircraft boasted an incredibly light empty weight of just 360 pounds. This allowed it to lift heavy payloads. Look at this. Visually, the Hornet is completely jarring and minimalist. It is essentially a small teardrop-shaped fiberglass bubble attached to a single rotor mast. It features absolutely no tail rotor mechanism, but the true visual spectacle happened at night when it was fired up. The ramjets on the blade tips would shoot continuous trails of bright orange fire. It was astonishing. They created a glowing, violent halo spinning above the pilot. Hiller envisioned this machine for light military observation. They even hoped to sell it to ordinary civilians, imagining a future where people park these fiery helicopters in their suburban driveways. But here is the brutal truth. The Hornet was a catastrophic failure in real-world use. Ramjet engines, moving at hundreds of miles per hour, create a deafening, shrieking roar. This noise physically vibrates through human bones. It was so violently loud that it was completely useless for military stealth and absolutely illegal for civilian neighborhoods. This forced the project's cancellation. But the dream of eliminating a heavy central engine did not die there. The next machine on our list perfected the exact same concept, only it used cold, silent air instead of explosive fire. Number 8 is the SNCASO Djinn, developed in France in 1953. The Djinn is an absolute masterpiece of thermodynamic engineering. It holds the title as the only cold jet helicopter to ever enter mass production. Instead of using fiery combustion at the blade tips, it utilized a turbogenerator engine. This system aggressively sucked in outside air, compressed it massively, and blasted that high-pressure air up through the hollow rotor mast. The cold air exited through nozzles at the blade tips. It used sheer aerodynamic force to spin the main rotor. When you look at the Djinn, your brain immediately senses that a crucial part is missing. It has a simple rounded cockpit and an exposed engine block. But the rear features only a basic rudder with absolutely no tail rotor. Because the blades were driven by expelled air rather than a mechanical shaft, therefore there was no reactive torque twisting the helicopter's body. This made the Djinn highly successful in agricultural applications. Pilots could fly low and spray crops with massive chemical payloads. They never had to worry about a spinning tail rotor snagging on tree branches. The Djinn proved to be a silent killer of conventional design limitations. It flew with an eerie, stable grace. It offered unmatched safety for ground crews working near the aircraft during frantic medical evacuations. It stands as historical proof that sometimes the most bizarre mechanical solutions are actually the most reliable and functional in the real world. But while the Djinn proved that, you could easily build a helicopter without a tail rotor. Our next remarkable machine proved that you did not even need to build a permanent fuselage to create a heavy lifter. Number 7 is the Kamov Ka-26, emerging from the Soviet Union in 1965. This aircraft is a masterclass in brutalist utilitarian engineering. It is powered by 2 robust radial engines, the same type used in World War II fighter planes. They produce 325 horsepower each. These engines are mounted inside large pods on either side of the roof. The aircraft was built for heavy-duty labor. It boasts a maximum takeoff weight of over 7,000 pounds. And it was designed to survive the harshest and coldest environments on the planet. Visually, it features Kamov's signature coaxial rotor system. This system utilizes 2 massive sets of blades spinning in opposite directions on a single mast to eliminate the need for a tail rotor. But the craziest visual aspect is the main body itself. Directly behind the tiny bubble-like cockpit is nothing but empty space. The Ka-26 was essentially designed as a flying chassis. Ground crews could slide different specialized modules into this empty gap. They could attach a passenger cabin for transport or slide in a massive chemical hopper to dust crops across the frozen Siberian tundra. This incredible modularity made it the ultimate flying pickup truck. Today, it is still deeply revered by veteran pilots. This is because of its sheer unrefined mechanical stubbornness and its incredible stability when flying in violent crosswinds. It was a machine that prioritized pure function over any form of aerodynamic beauty. But while the Ka-26 used 2 rotors stacked on top of each other, our next machine took 2 separate rotors and angled them toward each other, creating a terrifying visual illusion of an imminent mid-air collision every single time it took to the skies. Number 6 is the Kaman HH-43 Husky, introduced in the United States in the late 1950s. The Husky is powered by a single turboshaft engine, pushing 860 horsepower. It was an incredibly rugged and boxy machine with a maximum gross weight of exactly 9,000 pounds. However, you cannot properly discuss the Husky without staring directly at its roof. Instead of a standard main rotor, Kaman engineers utilized a syncropter configuration. It features two massive main rotors mounted side by side, angled outward, and synchronized by a complex mechanical gearbox. To watch the Husky fly is to experience a mild, continuous anxiety. The massive wooden rotor blades rapidly crisscross through each other's path thousands of times a minute, looking exactly like an egg beater in motion. It is very strange. The rectangular, snub-nosed fuselage resembles a flying breadbox, and the entire machine seems to hover with a strange waddling grace. But this bizarre intermeshing design gave the Husky an incredible amount of raw lifting power. More importantly, it provided extreme stability in a hover. It was completely unaffected by the violent crosswinds that would normally spin a conventional helicopter out of control. That unparalleled stability meant everything, because the Husky was built for salvation. It served as a crash rescue helicopter. When a jet crashed, the pilot hovered directly over the inferno. This bravery is respectable. The powerful downwash from those intermeshing blades beat back the flames. It created a safe path to rescue trapped pilots. It was a bizarre machine that performed daily miracles. If you respect raw engineering, hit the subscribe button right now. But if you think crisscrossing blades are dangerous, wait until you see the bent, twisted fuselage of the legendary machine up next. Number 5 is the Piasecki H-21. First taking flight in the United States in 1952. This tandem rotor workhorse was powered by a massive supercharged radial engine churning out 1,150 horsepower. It was a heavy-duty military lifter. It was specifically designed to transport 22 fully equipped combat troops or carry heavy cargo across the battlefield. The aircraft had a maximum gross weight of over 14,000 pounds. This made it an absolute heavyweight champion of its era. But its lasting fame comes entirely from its completely unmistakable and highly unorthodox silhouette. The aircraft features a severely kinked, bent fuselage. It sweeps dramatically upward at the rear, earning it the immortal and hilarious nickname, the Flying Banana. This was not an aesthetic choice. It was a brutal solution to a complex physics problem. With two massive spinning rotors at either end of the aircraft, the rear rotor needed to be significantly higher than the front rotor. This way, their blades would not strike each other during heavy maneuvering. Bending the entire body of the aircraft upward was the most efficient way to achieve this necessary vertical clearance. It looks highly awkward on the ground, sitting back on its tricycle landing gear like a dog about to leap. But in the air, the Flying Banana was a serious piece of hardware. It became the ultimate workhorse of the early Cold War, particularly in extreme Arctic environments. The overlapping tandem rotors provided immense lifting capability, regardless of the wind direction. This allowed it to easily supply remote radar stations in freezing Alaska. But while the Banana conquered heavy lifting, our next modern marvel was engineered to conquer the absolute limits of helicopter speed. Number 4 is the Sikorsky X2 technology demonstrator, jumping directly into the modern era. This American-built experimental aircraft first flew in 2008. It is a technological marvel designed to completely break the ultimate physical barrier of conventional helicopters, the retreating blade stall. Powered by a single advanced turboshaft engine, this incredibly compact and lightweight machine was engineered not for payload capacity, but for pure, unadulterated velocity. It represents a multi-million-dollar effort to prove that vertical takeoff aircraft do not have to be slow, vulnerable targets on the modern battlefield. Visually, the X2 looks exactly like a stealth weapon from the distant future. It utilizes a highly rigid coaxial rotor system, meaning two counter-rotating blades are stacked on top of each other. But the true visual shock is located at the tail. There is no traditional tail rotor to counter torque. Instead, there is a massive six-bladed pusher propeller mounted facing backward. The fuselage itself is incredibly sleek, aerodynamically contoured, and painted entirely in stealthy black and silver. It truly does not look like a standard helicopter. It looks like a bullet equipped with blades. The X2 was an absolute triumph of aerodynamic speed. By using the main rotors solely for upward lift and engaging the rear propeller for aggressive forward thrust, the X2 hit a blistering 287 miles per hour in level flight. Amazing. And it pushed an insane 299 miles per hour in a shallow dive. It completely shattered speed records. But long before the X2 pushed the boundaries of velocity, another massive machine tried to combine airplanes and helicopters and ended up breaking civilian windows instead of speed records. Number 3 is one of the Fairey Rotodyne, developed in the United Kingdom in the late 1950s. The Rotodyne remains one of the most ambitious aircraft in history. Technically, it is a gyrodyne, not a standard helicopter. It was a massive commercial-scale transport aircraft. It was powered by 2 turboprop engines mounted on short, stubby wings. Sitting on top of this 40-passenger airliner fuselage was a colossal 90-foot-wide rotor system. It was powered by tip jets. It had an impressive maximum takeoff weight of 33,000 pounds, and it was designed to revolutionize city-to-city public transportation across Europe. The idea behind its operation was absolutely brilliant. It would use the explosive tip jets on the main rotor to take off vertically from small spaces directly inside city centers. Once safely airborne, the pilot would shut those tip jets off entirely and transfer all engine power to the forward propellers. The massive main rotor would then just auto-rotate naturally in the wind, providing lift while the aircraft cruised efficiently, like a standard airplane at 200 miles per hour. Visually, it looked like a passenger plane that accidentally had a giant helicopter blade dropped onto its roof. But here is the brutal truth. While it flew beautifully, it was a catastrophic commercial failure because of the noise. When those tip jets fired up for a vertical takeoff, the noise was so intensely violent that it literally shattered the glass windows of buildings below. Terrible. Airlines quickly realized that the general public would never tolerate such a deafening machine operating in the middle of London. The project was tragically cancelled. But the desire to merge planes and helicopters survived, leading to our next controversial machine, the machine that rotates its entire engines in mid-air. Number 2 is the Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. The American Osprey is the ultimate multi-billion-dollar culmination of the desire to merge the vertical takeoff capabilities of a helicopter with the high-speed cruise of an airplane. Powered by 2 massive turboshaft engines, producing over 6,100 horsepower each. This machine is an absolute beast. It can lift 24 fully equipped combat troops and fly at an astonishing cruise speed of around 316 miles per hour. It boasts a maximum takeoff weight exceeding 52,000 pounds during rolling takeoffs. The Osprey is a tilt rotor, and its visual operation is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. It features a conventional heavy airplane fuselage, but mounted at the extreme ends of its wings are massive engine nacelles attached to 38-foot prop rotors. When taking off, these heavy engine pods rotate completely upright, pointing the massive blades directly at the sky to lift off exactly like a helicopter. But once safely airborne, those massive engines slowly pivot 90 degrees forward. You watch in real time as a hovering helicopter physically morphs into a high-speed turboprop military transport airplane. The Osprey has always been a highly controversial machine, heavily criticized by the media for high-profile developmental crashes. But the unstated truth is that today, despite the lingering public bias, the V-22 has evolved into one of the safest and most reliable rotorcraft in the Marine Corps arsenal. It provides unparalleled strategic reach across vast oceans. It is the ultimate hybrid of aviation technology. But even the cutting-edge Osprey must bow to the sheer terrifying scale and absolute madness of our final monumental Soviet machine waiting at the #1 spot. Number 1 is the Mi-10 flying crane, emerging in 1960 during the absolute height of the Cold War. The Soviet Mi-10 was built to accomplish things no other aircraft on Earth could ever dream of. It is powered by 2 massive turboshaft engines, producing an earth-shattering 5,500 horsepower each. These engines turn a colossal main rotor that is nearly 115 feet across. It has a heavy empty weight of roughly 60,000 pounds and was explicitly designed to lift exterior payloads of up to 33,000 pounds. It is widely known in aviation circles as the long-legged monster. The central fuselage is relatively flat and wide, housing a standard cockpit. But directly underneath this body are 4 incredibly long, spindly, wide-set landing gear legs. It looks exactly like a giant mechanical praying mantis. It stands so incredibly tall that a standard city bus could easily drive right underneath its belly with plenty of room to spare. This extreme design was born from a chilling requirement to transport massive intercontinental ballistic missiles and prefabricated buildings across the frozen, roadless expanses of Siberia. Instead of trying to fit these gigantic loads inside an internal cargo bay, the Mi-10 simply straddles them. The pilot taxis this colossal machine directly over the cargo. Hydraulic grips reach down and lock onto the payload, and then the Mi-10 simply stands up and flies away, carrying an entire building flush against its belly. There is no grace or aerodynamic elegance here at all. It is just thousands of tons of steel and jet fuel beating the atmosphere into submission. It stands as a terrifying and magnificent monument to the extreme limits of human ingenuity. These incredible machines prove aviation history is an arena filled with radical, dangerous experiments. They provided extreme solutions to the impossible problems of their time. Looking at these unhinged designs, did Cold War engineers possess a fearless brilliance we lack today, or were they simply reckless? Which of these mechanical monsters did you find the strangest? Which one would you want to fly? Let me know your stance in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next week.